Alright, hey, I heard you need to make some fire fluids. So let's go create a cube for now. And yeah, we got our cube in Maya here. And let's make sure that we're in the VFX mode in Maya. And then go up to your in particles up at the top. Actually go to fluids and create a 3D container and go to the option box, and then you should get this option box that pops up, and uncheck the add emitter because we already have an emitter we want to use, that cube. You can make any shape if you want, and then just the defaults should work. Besides that checkbox, just uncheck emitter, hit apply, and we want to place this emitter sort of fluid box here just above the ground plane, and we're just going to put that cube a little bit more inside the box there. Looks pretty good. Few tweaks there. Let's go ahead and make it bigger so we can see this. And make sure it's in that box in the fluid chamber. Then select the box and then shift click on the box. Go up to fluids. Go back to the in particles there. Oh, nope. It's in fluids here. So go to add and edit contents and emit from object. And then just click on your fluid box in the outliner. And on the right hand side, you're going to get a whole bunch of options over here. And let's try and go through a few of these. It's going to be a lot of playing around and trial and error here. So you've got your timeline below. It should work fine. Let's go ahead and extend this timeline out. 200's pretty good, but as you can see, the fluid sim here is going to stop at frame 200 and it's going to loop back to 0. So let's just go ahead and extend this out a bit more. Let's go to 400. We might need to push it out a little bit further. This is looking pretty good. And this is just the default settings. We haven't messed with anything else yet. Let's just go ahead and go to 600. Drag that bottom bar out to 600, so it'd be 0 to 600 frames. Alright, let's stop the timeline. Let's go to our settings really quick. Let's just turn this on to 24 times 1. We'll save it. It's playing a little bit slower. Looks a little bit cleaner for now, but I think we might have to go back to play every frame, because once we start adjusting the parameters over here, it's gonna change a lot. All right, so our base resolution, it's pretty low. Let's just increase this up to 60. And then let's see what that does. A lot more resolution there. Looking pretty cool. And yeah, you can experiment with this quite a lot here. What we're doing is we're just trying to recreate some type of fire effect, some type of smoke and fire that's emitting from this cube. All right, pretty cool. So we have our axis here. In Maya, Y is up, and as you can see, Z is over there, X. So let's go ahead and change the boundary of X to none. For Y, we just want to make sure that it doesn't go below the cube. and then for Z we'll put none. And so now it's not really worried about the boundary of the box. As you can see, it's extending beyond positive Y there. Let's go ahead and take a look at our different settings. Let's go to display. Let's go to shaded display. We can leave that alone. Go to boundary draw, and let's just turn it to bounding box. And then let's play that and take a look. Once you make an adjustment, you want to just see what effect it has. It's looking okay. We'll get into some more settings here. So we'll just leave this, I think we'll just leave this to bounding box. A lot of these settings too, there's documentation online on Autodesk's website, so you can take a look at what best suits your needs. So we'll just leave this to bounding box. Alright, let's take a look at our dynamic simulation here. Typically we want to leave our gravity at 9.8 in the physics realm of everything. Let's add some dampening to this effect. See what that does. Let's dial it up a little bit. Dampening looks like it's going to make it quite slower. So let's just put this around 0.1. Yeah, it looks pretty good. 0.019 looks to be okay. Let's just keep it like that for now. Alright, so the high detail solver, let's change this to all grids. Our solver quality, we'll turn this up. For now, we'll put our substeps at 2. And then our quality, we want to see some good quality, so let's just put it up to 100 really quick. Change the simulation rate scale to 1.5. Emit in substeps. Check that on. Hit play. Now we're going to run into some issues here because we're changing the way the emitter or the way the fluid effect is happening. So our quality's gone up quite a bit. If we dial this down to back down to 65, it's going to be a little bit smoother. We're just increasing our quality. Let's dial this down a little bit to back to 1.0. And 1.5. And we'll turn it back up to 100. Emit in substeps. Turn that off. Some substeps will turn it back to 1. It looks okay for now. Okay, let's go down to our liquids here. Let's see, don't really need to change anything with that. Auto resize, let's just auto resize this. So whenever the effect goes above the bounding box is going to auto resize itself until the end of the life. So that's good. We want to see it, so that's okay. So just check on auto resize. Everything else should be all right. Auto resize margin here. Change it to 3. Let's go down to our contents details here. Let's go to density. So we want to affect the smoke here. So buoyancy, we want to turn that up. We want it to look more voluminous. Dissipation, sorry. Alright, yeah, that's looking pretty good. So it's basically going to affect the life of this smoke. Let's move this buoyancy up to 5.0, see what that looks like. Let's turn it up to 8.0, see what that looks like. That's looking pretty good. It's definitely breaking up the voxels quite a bit. So in some cases, maybe we should keep it together. We can lower it back down to 3. It's looking okay. It's not as broken up. Okay, let's go to the velocity. Let's make this swirl a little bit here. Add some randomness to this smoke. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, we'll turn this up to 8. Alright, down to our turbulence. Let's turn this up a little bit. Okay, adding more randomness to this effect. Alright, here we got to go back up to the contents and turn on temperature and fuel to dynamic grid. And that way we get access to changing the variables for temperature and fuel here. So this is when we start messing with our you'll see some changes quite a bit. So that's the effect we have currently. Let's add the temperature scale up to 2.0. Buoyancy, let's put this to 200. Oof, breaks up the voxels quite a bit there. Dial it back down to 100. Let's see. Okay, let's dissipation here. Alright, turbulence will turn to 1. Let's take a look. Okay. Alright, fuel. Let's take a look at these settings. Let's change this in temperature to 6.0 really quick. Let's take a look at this. Alright, so we'll leave it at 6.0. Fuel, let's take a look. Reaction speed. Let's turn this up, see what max temperature. Let's drop this to 0. Let's hit play. Okay, light release. Let's turn this to 1. Let's go down to our shading here. This is when we're going to affect the color of our smoke. Our transparency, let's take a look at this. We'll change the value. Let's lower the value to, come on Maya, to 3. Make it a bit less transparent. Let's change our drop-off shape. We'll turn this off. Less cube-like. And again, there's a lot of settings in here. You can play around with this. Color, let's adjust the color a bit. We don't want it all one solid white color here. This is smoke after all. Let's make it kind of a bit white and black here. It's burning. Got some dark fire here, burning some wood or some fuel. So we'll just make it a dark smoke. There you go, instead of the complete white looking there. So you would definitely want to look at your reference if you're trying to match something specific. In this case, I mean, we're in a way maybe burning some fuel or something. The input bias, the greater the input bias, the more effect it has on this. So the more blackness it's going to have there. Let's change this color input to density. Let's go down to the incandescent. Change the colors a bit. That should be okay. Let's take a look. Okay, you can barely see it. Being too much of a perfectionist here, but here's the color, incandescent color. Always hit play just to see the effect here. And then let's go down to our opacity. Let's change this. So we're just trying to change our fluid shape a bit here. Okay, go ahead and hit play. It's breaking it up a lot. Let's add the input bias because we have 0 here. We're not really seeing our result too much. Let's turn this up. All right, go ahead and hit play. Okay, there we go, there we go. Now we're seeing a larger input there of our opacity. Okay, that's a bit better. Forget about the input bias. Definitely need to put a value there in order to see the result. Okay, change this to smooth for the shading quality. And then down in lighting, we can turn on our self shadows. I can turn up the shadow opacity to 1. Directional light should be okay. The light brightness here, just turn this up a bit. You can see it changed a little bit, but let's drop this back down to white. A bit more white there. Okay, yeah, I forgot about this. The incandescent, we changed our color. There we go. Alright, so we'll put this at 6.5. We'll hit play. Alright, so that's looking a lot better. Gotta always make sure you add in a value for the input bias for the color there and the incandescence. So it's looking pretty good. Let's change our substep here to, let's change this back to 2. Rendering out, it's going to look different. Let's, all these settings should be okay here. Let's hit play again. Okay. Want to make it a little more smoother. Let's turn our quality up a little bit, see what change that does. It's kind of broken up quite a bit. Let's change this to 2.0, see what the effect looks like. Okay, this actually helps kind of kill the fire a little bit more. Kill the smoke. Let's change our frames to play every frame here. Okay. Yeah, it's looking a bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. We can actually cache our frames as well. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. That's looking nice. Just need to change our frame rate. Substeps, let's just drop this back down to 1. Yeah, a little bit smoother. Yeah, we'll leave leave this to play every frame. We'll just have this loop, and then let's click down here, and this should help the playthrough because it's caching data. Kind of, it's like caching our simulation. Let's turn this to hardware really quick. I don't know if it's going to make too much of a difference. Yeah, and if you turn your light up here, you can kind of see we don't have any light in our scene. We're in the viewport 2.0 renderer. So if you want light, you can add light to your scene if you want to. But on our time slider down here, let's just put this to around 40. So we've got it pre-playing up to 40 frames. So we're only seeing 40 frames here. If we look at the 0, you can kind of see like the implementation of the fire. So let's just go ahead and maybe stop it or start it around this yeah, let's just leave it at 50 here. So we're starting at frame 50. And we're just going to let this play. And then from 600, let's just dial this down to, let's say around like, let's just keep going. Yeah, around 174, that's fine. And so it's just looping this time here. And it looks pretty good. So that is your fire effect. Good job.